Scott, what do we do now? Well, the question becomes, what do you have on your? I think one of the good ways to think about the market, because it seems like you do day trade. If you want to switch to swing trading, the one question you have to ask yourself is, where's money going? Where's money leaving? What setups do you have currently that are buyable? Right? And nothing else matters. Right? Nothing else matters. If you don't know what to do, it's because you're maybe not prepared with your setups. So do your homework at night, figure out what setups you like, understand your kind of entry tactics, understand what environment those work in, and then execute. Jensen saved the market. Yeah, I mean, the report was good. The report was good. The one thing I'll say about, good morning, guys. The one thing I'll say about the report is, Jensen said they were like sold out. Jensen said, they can't keep up with demand. And then I like looked through their consolidated report. They've got almost $20 billion in inventory. Now, somebody tell me how you could be sold out but have $20 billion in inventory. Can anybody tell me? Because I can't quite figure it out. Can't quite figure that one out. Also, does anybody here own a business? You bought 100 shares of Google at $291. Any advice on when to sell them? I mean, realistically, if you bought it yesterday, I'm more of the idea of 3 to 5 days of a push, and then trim into strength, and then trail the rest. Oh, he said we have plenty of Blackwell for sale. Okay, so $20 billion worth of Blackwell. That would make sense. But the whole thing of they it's hard to keep up with demand, and then you've got 20 billion maybe worth of Blackwell for sale. You have a business right here in Chicago. Beautiful. Let me ask you something. Is normally 60% of your revenue in IOUs? Because 60% of their revenue is in accounts receivable, meaning they're recognizing that revenue before they've ever even received the money, which is crazy, right? I mean, 60% of it anyway. And I like NVIDIA, by the way. I think what they're doing is awesome. The one thing I'll say, though, and the reason that I think Google is performing so well is because they don't really use NVIDIA GPUs, right? Or CPUs, GPUs. They use their TPUs. And Google is really, really doing awesome. I use that Gemini 3. It's amazing. Gemini 3 is awesome. Any setups that you've taken before that are like your cipher shorts? Well, Strata, ask yourself this. Have there really been any charts over the last 3 weeks that have been going vertical? Not really. Right? No, not really. How did I survive 2022 bear market when you first? Well, the first thing I did was actually going right into 2022 was I was long XLE. Let's go back a couple years in time. I bought this breakout down here. This was on January 3rd of 2022. This one helped me survive. And I did get knocked out of it before this little last leg. But And then I also studied shorting in 2022. Well, here's the thing. If those orders were reserved, then it would be under accounts receivable. And that other $19 billion would be under accounts receivable. It wouldn't be under inventory. Maybe, or I don't know. You maybe know more about that than I do. Could I please explain what you mean for a stage 3 and stage? Okay, so stage 4 is a downtrend. Stage 3 is a top, right? So like, look at ANF, right? So this is stage 2. See this entire move up? This is a stage 2 uptrend. When it begins to just go sideways for a while, right? This is a stage 3 top. And then when you break the 200 simple moving average, this is a stage 4 downtrend, right? Deck, something very similar, right? This is a stage 2 uptrend where it's above the 200. This one doesn't top out nearly as long, right? But it does like consolidate here for a while. It tries to break higher for just a moment until bad earnings are what send this thing below the 200 simple moving average. And then it becomes a stage 4 downtrend, right? MMYT is another good example, right? You go on a nice prolonged up period, and then eventually you break the 200 simple moving average, and this becomes a stage 3 top. And now you're below the 200, and then it rolls over, right? Netflix is doing something very similar, right? This is a stage 2 uptrend above the 200. This is your stage 3 top, right? And then here's potentially your stage 4 downtrend, which this is a name that I'm already short since yesterday. Well, I know 60% can be of their revenue in IOUs because theirs is. So, I mean, I know it can be. I just don't know if that's typical, right? But I guess for their business, it is. Look, I thought their quarter was awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I thought their quarter was great. Gold stocks look great. Gold stocks look really great. Super tight, man. Gap up like this, you can't do much but sell short. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if you have to sell short, right? The stock market just came down 7%. I don't know that it has to go down more. I'd like it to go down more, but I don't know that it has to. I don't look at weekly. Weekly performance does not matter, right? For all you know, like a sector could squeeze for a week, but it's just short covering because it's gotten beaten up so bad. So 1 week does not matter. Month, 3 month, 6 month. What do I think of HUT UNR? Yeah, maybe. You know, really it happened on 11/14 if you wanted it. I ended up buying NBIS as a UNR yesterday. So I ended up buying this basically as a UNR of 94.22. God, AOI is almost off the it's almost on the do not trade list for me. Right? One, it's below the 200, which is no good. And two, this straight move down after doing this kind of move up, this is not the sort of chart I like trading. Just so choppy. You know, maybe in the future when it resets up, but there's nothing for me to do with that AOI right now. Yeah, Bruce, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, right? A sell-off for NVIDIA today And let's just say it were to go back down to like 188, that wouldn't be the best look. San Andreas, that's exactly right. I always say the best time to buy is after a correction. We've had a mini correction. Yes, we have. So now the question becomes is during that mini correction, it's 7%. It's not that many, but it's small enough, right? Or it's a big enough correction, should I say. What stocks are holding up best after that mini correction? GH is buyable? Yeah, maybe. You know which one I thought was buyable yesterday? It was on my watch list. This EXAS. Holy cow. No way. Trading in the hundreds now. Oh my goodness. I thought this thing was buy. I had it on the watch list going into this day here. Oh my goodness. I did not realize it gapped up even more. I saw this yesterday too. I thought it was buyable again at prior day. And then this happened. And then now we're gapping up even more. Holy. Unbelievable. How will you start shorting nowadays? Or how will you start studying shorting? One of the things you got to do is you got to study the stocks. You probably should start with stage analysis, right? That would be the best thing you could do. Start with stage analysis and ask yourself, like, what is a stage 4 downtrend? Look through stocks that have broken down. Look at an ANF, an MMYT, a Deckers. Look through those names and then look at a net and compare it to a Netflix. Like that's probably the easiest way, shorting something in stage 4. As the overall market is approaching 20 EMA, won't it be supply zone 2? Yeah, it'll also be supply. But you don't know how that's going to affect the market or any individual stock. So if you have a stock that is buyable and it's triggering for you and you've got no long exposure, start with one single position with smaller position size, right? There's nothing wrong with buying a 5% position. And if it goes on to work and the market allows you to see some traction on that and gives you another one later in a day or two, buy another and then another and then another. Right, we'll have plenty of time to get re-involved in the market if it's going to go higher. Yeah, strong relative volume. Also, you can execute with limit orders. Yeah, I had EXAS on the watch list 2 days ago. Did not think it would be doing that. You can always wait till something's below the 200 simple moving average before shorting. Yeah. When do you think I tried to short initially MSTR? I tried to short MSTR when it rejected the 200, but we were already below it. And then, I did get stopped out into this push, but the next best time to short it was when it broke below the 200. And then look at what it did. Your entry would have been something like 350. And then look at what it did, right? You're talking about $160 fade from there in a straight line. So, yes, if you really want to short with the least amount of headache, below the 50 is a great spot. Yeah, I'm also keeping an eye on the gold names too. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, he basically said that it's hard to keep up with demand. Well, if it was hard to keep up with demand, then how come you got $20 billion in inventory? Just throwing that out there, right? It didn't that like the commentary didn't necessarily jive with what their consolidated earnings said. But but it doesn't matter, right? I mean, they do have a ton of earnings. Again, it's just not all recognized earnings yet. It's in accounts receivable, which, fine. 60%. It's like a lot, but yeah, MP. We'll see if this one sets up over the 50 simple moving average in time. Well, it looks like the market's going to be gapping up quite a bit. 2% for the NQ, and it's obviously going to gap stocks a whole heck of a lot higher. It will be hard to buy stocks first thing in the morning, right? It's going to be very difficult. So, I mean, there are a few names, for instance, that I kind of prefer. Like, I am pretty big believer here that Netflix is trying to roll over into stage 4. So I'll be focused on any kind of strength on this thing that then begins to fail for a possible short. And yeah, I don't know, man. I'm going to be keeping my eyes out of Tesla out of yesterday, which was a nice little tight inside day, basically. I'll be keeping my eyes on the semis, TSM and AVGO and ASML and Oracle. Like, I'll be keeping an eye on, all of these names. I'm in NBIS already from yesterday, so I'm not really feeling like there's FOMO and missing out. GEV has a really nice base that's starting to be set here. So there's a lot of stuff going on. But I don't know that I'm going to buy in the first 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, GH looks good. That's a nice chart. Cypher, what about it? I'm actually short Cypher. And I'm short Cypher from $25, and I'm like 90% covered. So there's not really a whole lot for me to do here. I know it's gapping up, but I'm not going to be chasing this gap up. I'm still in NEM as well. Yeah, I'm still there. We'll see if this can take out yesterday's highs too, so I can go ahead and add to my position. Market completely destroyed some charts. Here's the reality. Market destroyed some charts. NVIDIA is trying to save the market, but there aren't enough clean setups. People on X talking about trying MSTR. What do you think? Those are the same people who have been trying MSTR for the last 2 months or longer. Like the young gladiator. He's been talking about MSTR for the last 6 months, and he just keeps, burning his own money. I would tell you that if you want to try it for a mean reversion trade, okay, fine. But if you think that this is like the start of some brand new bull run for MSTR, like, you don't have to own it here. I'll tell you that. Thoughts on Palantir? I like the gap up, but I won't be buying Palantir until we reestablish ourselves above the 50 simple moving average. Pretty simple. Needs to get back above $180. What do I think of SanDisk price action? I'm short $260 for now. So, and yeah, we're gapping up. So, kind of figured that with NVIDIA. But we'll see. SNDK is a bit of a beach ball for sure. ASML, yeah, awesome. They've got they've got an awesome business, man. Yeah, it's starting to look really, really good. Like a big old cup and handle. Yeah, EXAS. Except, they had good earnings and sales. Yeah, I saw the news yesterday with Abbott Labs. Yeah, I saw that. Money into energy, pharma, comms. Yep. Yeah, it's great. Swing trading can feel a bit overwhelming with everything you know now. How would you approach it if you were starting over again? The first thing I would do is start like this. Go back and look at all of the prior biggest winners, right? Stick some moving averages on them so that you can kind of get an understanding for what stage analysis looks like. So go ahead and look at all of the biggest winners, right? Just like ChatGPT, stock market's biggest winners, over the last 3 years. And then like look at their commonality, like what group are they in? And at the time where they broke out of what is a clean setup going into a stage 2 uptrend, what did the chart look like? Is there a common, factor between all of these charts that ended up being in a big move? Were they in a similar group, or what group are they in? Was that in theme at the time? How did earnings and sales affect that move, right? Did they have earnings and sales? You got to like just think about Nvidia for a second, right? They've had a theme, they've been a leader, they've had accelerating earnings and sales for the better part of 2 years. Right? Even at Palantir, they've been in theme. They've obviously been a leader. They've had accelerating earnings and sales for the past 2+ years, 3 years, really. So that's just definitely something to think about. You got to go back in and study what the biggest winners and how it is that they act and acted during their move. I don't even think about that stuff, Ivan. Why would I be concerned about what's happening in the bond or repo markets if I don't trade them? Right? If liquidity is dried up, interest rates are spiking, who's left to buy risky assets? Here's the thing. I don't have to buy risky assets. I could short them. That's exactly what I did with UAMY. That's exactly what I did with Iron. I tried with Iron, even though I got stopped out. That's what I did with Cypher. That's what I did with IONQ when I made money on it. And that's what I did with Rigetti when I made money on it. So I'm more than happy to, let liquidity dry up and then just short the hell out of a bunch of stocks and make money on them going down too. I do not care what direction stocks are going in. So like worrying about the bond and the repo market does not move the needle in my portfolio, right? I can't worry about something I cannot control. I can only worry about my entry tactics. I can only worry and figure out where's money going, where's money leaving. I can only control where it is that I buy something or sell something, how much of it I buy or sell, right? Like that's more my concern, right? Being concerned about the bond and the repo market, let me know when that makes you money, right? Because it's not going to. So focused on things that don't move the needle in your portfolio are completely irrelevant to my personal trading, and they should be to yours too, unless of course you're a bond trader. If you're a bond trader, then sure, worry about it. My thoughts on TSM, nothing to do yet. Worrying about things that you are completely out of your control will never move the needle in your account. And that's what we're here to do. Yeah, NEO starting to look pretty good, like a nice little high type flag. IONS, this one's almost looking better. IHRT, not so much. You've been a day trader for the past 7 years and learned to swing trade because your broker banned you. I got banned from my broker way back in the day too. So thin. Also too extended from the 50 simple moving average for it to be buyable for me. Too extended. This was nicer down here. But too thin. It was also pretty good right through here. But a little too extended here. Yeah, Netflix, Spotify, those should move together. Netflix and Spotify should move together. Yeah, Yeah, this could be a UNR setup back through these lows. So really, let's just kind of get the price a little bit better. So 1022's low being, call it 121 basically, 120.80. Yeah, we're kind of UNR right there now. I would prefer if that happened a little bit, going through the day. So like in the morning, if we fade off a little bit and then we start to rally back through that level, that could look pretty good. Yeah, Met Coal, this one's garbage. Look at what they've done to this thing. Total trash. And one to yeah, it's way too late to get involved, right? Where's the tightness? You can't just buy this thing when it's down like 70%, right? I mean, you can't just short this when it's down this much. It's down 70%. Like, I'm sure it could go down another 70%, but there's no reason for you to chase this down here. Yeah, but the problem with that thinking is the NVIDIA inventory will go to those open orders not fulfilled yet. The problem is, I'm pretty sure when they get that order is when they put that money into accounts receivable. So, yeah, you can do buy limit orders. You can do buy limit orders, and when something's really tight, understand a nice clean setup, stick a buy limit order on it. It could be. I think SNDK is a little too extended still from the 50 simple moving average to be buyable for a new buy, but there will be people that buy it. But it's over 6 times its ATR from the 50. So for me it's not buyable. For others, they'll buy it, but no, I'm not looking at Tesla for a short. Nope. Will Dan. I like that. I like that company too. Will Dan. Super tight, man. Holy cow, what an eye. My view on Will Dan is that this thing could not get any tighter. If it's going to go, it's going to go like, today or tomorrow. I mean, it's got to go, right? I don't know that this thing could get any friggin' tighter. Or it starts to break down. Who knows? But this was a super trend, too. Yeah, because you could just be buying something into supply. I'll tell you this, though. The market's doing a really nice job getting back above the 50 simple moving average. Yep, that's exactly what I'd recommend for newer traders. If you're not feeling comfortable buying something, just do nothing until the market, makes it a little bit easier. Heck yeah, dude. If you caught another gap up, I would be trimming more into strength and then leaving yourself with like a 40% position because it's a buyout, right? So I don't know if you're familiar with what buyouts are going to do. They get to like near that buyout price and then they do absolutely nothing and they trade in like a super teeny tiny range. So like it depends. Like what's the buyout price? If the buyout price is almost exactly where it's at right now, I would just sell the whole thing. Count your blessings and then, because it's being bought out at the price that it's trading at right now. And it'll just sit there until the buyout's confirmed. And you'll just watch your money do nothing. So yeah, that's sometimes even better. Just, get out, count your blessings, you're done. You have to check the buyout price, but I'm pretty sure with the gap up overnight, they're just going to start to barcode for days. Yeah, PWR starting to look a whole heck of a lot better too. PWR, GEV, CEG. No, I get asked that all the time. The arrows up or down are MACD histograms. Man, I wish these arrows were my execution. You imagine? Here's an arrow down here. Yeah, that would be cool. No, it's just a MACD histogram. Yeah, I'm not interested in Palantir until it can establish itself above the 50 simple moving average. No, with Google, the entry was yesterday over prior day high. If you missed your entry here, then you just missed your entry. Right? And then it closes at like 292. You can't go buying this thing at 304, 305. Like, I mean, you can. You do whatever you want, but And this was on my watch list going into yesterday too. So if you missed it, you missed it. What does the market need to do for me to feel that the long side is back? Well, I bought NBIS, as I thought that the market could do something, right? You get a UNR and then, I put some shares on. So what I'm going to want to see is some more follow through. I'm going to want to see some more follow through. And then what I'm really going to want to see is I'm going to want to see the market give me more setups. The reality is I don't have a bunch of setups in the tech space. What you have are a bunch of potential, undercut rallies but that's just like, step one. I need more. I need way more setups. MBIS is below the 50 simple moving average, but yes, I bought it as an undercut and rally. My hope is that it could get to like that 107, 108 level, and then I could trim some off into that. But yeah, I wouldn't go chasing this higher, right? Not today. Like I would not, I literally would not go chasing this thing up 6, 7%. What does my favorite cleanest short setup look like? Just like MSTR. Just a clean break of the 50. You retest the 200, you try to reclaim, and then you fail. That's what the best looks like. Something like Netflix, right? You hit the 50 or 200, you fail, you try to reclaim, and then you fail again. You try to reclaim one more time, and you fail once again. Yeah, no, Meta, that's a little too late for now. Like, where's the setup? That's the thing. It's like, you're asking me if it's too late. The thing you need to be asking yourself, Scott, which is something I recommend, is ask yourself, what is the technical setup that you trade to get yourself involved? Right? You don't need my opinion here. There is no setup. It's just straight in a straight line down. Like, where exactly do you sell it and how do you manage risk? Nothing. I just hold it for now. So long as we're going to be living under that 260 level, I'm okay just holding it. Oh, that's not your fault, dude. You got Nvidia ripping up on earnings. I mean, that's going to happen. That is going to happen. Yeah, there's just no setup here. Too extended from the 50. I have shorts, but I don't really have I don't have a lot of long setups to buy. That's my problem. I'm like long bias more so on gold names if they can start to break out of this multi-day range. Um, and I'm short bias on certain things that might be losing the 200 simple moving average. It might take a while. MP needs a bit more time. Yeah, NextEra Energy looks good. It's just got to kind of break out of this range. SA is too thin. Too thin. Trades less than 20 million bucks a day. Yeah, Carpenter. I like Carpenter down here too. Too bad. Yeah, not bad. I mean, this one also could be a bit of a late stage base too. No, I thought Costco was a short a few days ago. Thoughts on Gilead? It's in the right group, but you don't really want to probably play Gilead. Too slow. Yeah, you have a rule that you don't buy anything below the 50. That's a great rule. What did I see to make me not get invested into the market? A lack of setups, and the longs that I was in, Arc, Rocket Lab, Tesla, I was getting stopped out of them. So, I don't go buying something back just because I don't have money in the market. I wait for clean setups. I try to take it. And if it doesn't work, I'm stopped out and then there's nothing to do. Yeah, I think that this is good, right? There's always going to be tradable opportunities like right after a correction like NBIS or during that correction. And then, from there I've got a little bit of exposure on the long side now working for me potentially. I don't know if it will work more today. Um, but yeah, I think that there's nothing wrong with just being patient and making sure that, the market's just not running into supply and then we just sell off all day. So if we start to just sell off all day, there's not going to be a whole lot left for me to do. Just kind of sit on my hands and wait for better setups. If I'm sitting at the desk, I'll place an order. I don't usually put the stop in as well, unless I'm going to get up off my desk. Would I recommend people that have short positions in SNDK, GEV, MUI? I don't know why anybody would have a short position in GEV. It's not extended, right? This is a new base. I don't know why anybody would have a short there. And, I wouldn't recommend people do anything. MUI, I don't know what the hell that is. Doesn't even show up. And SNDK, I mean, this one's still extended from the 50 simple moving average. I mean, it could very well go higher, but it's also extended. How do we find your watch list? I mean, we talk about it either in here or it's in the Discord. What do you think of Bitcoin continued weakness with this gap up? Yeah, I mean, I see that it's rolling over a little bit right now. So, could build a higher low. You also have Bitcoin right at 90,000, rolling over just a little bit as well. I was just looking at BMNR rolling over just a little bit. I mean, I don't make anything of it because it's already in a well-established downtrend. No. Oh wait, you said AXTI. I was about to say, what the hell is that? No. Also, this one. There you go. This was your buy spot right here, about 550s. Right now, there's just I talked about this one. There's just not a lot to do there. Thoughts on NRG? Yeah, not a bad one. Big base too. Nice base. ARGT, yeah, country ETF, which is acting great. SA Gold Miner, yeah. Seabridge Gold. It's just too thin though, right? I can't trade names that only trade sub $20 million a day. I need things that are more liquid like AEM, unfortunately. NEM, KGC. Yeah, maybe if it loses this close of earnings day. Yeah, it might be. Only looking interesting. Yeah, it's a little sloppy coming up this right hand side, just channeling. Ideally price flattens out a little bit more. When a specific stock is too slow, do you just look at the chart history or some specific? No, I look at the 20-day average daily range. Yeah, no, price reclaiming the 10 simple moving average is not enough of a reason to buy something. Might not be enough. Also, something like BE technically isn't reclaiming the 10 simple moving average today. That's at $120. Not bad. It's a pretty good looking chart right there. It's not that illiquid. Trades almost, just shy of 100 million bucks a day. An entry tactic on the 5-minute is a 620 setup, or it's a 5-minute opening range break. A 620 setup's not all that crazy. Just, look at something like NBIS yesterday. Before NVIDIA posted earnings, this thing gave a 620 setup. It's just where, something finds support right at the lows. And really, for me, it was an area that had an undercut and rally potential. And then your 6 crosses back above your 20. So like right there, right? Like 93 and change. No, I wouldn't go long. What is this? RGTZ? No, that's basically like shorting Rigetti. I think, those names would need to go sideways a little while longer before I would consider longing the inverse. Yeah, WGS, good but not great. Good but not great. It looks all right. Just doesn't look that special. Thoughts on shorting lows? Oh, man. That's a turtle. Nah. I don't know, man. This is just not that great. It's just too slow. The setup's not all that awesome. If you want to short this one, probably pushes into declining moving averages. I have no idea. When do I think we can get a small bounce on MSTR? Could be today. Honestly. Could be today. Today's going to be another little subtle gap up. And, maybe we can rally all the way to 215 bucks at some point or higher, back to 230s. At some point that probably will happen, but I don't know, right? I don't need to catch the proverbial falling knife. I don't usually buy when something just gets above the 20 simple moving average. I do sometimes, but it's got to be a clean setup, just as an undercut and rally. And it also depends how much we've rallied to get back into that 20. So the context matters quite a bit, right? I don't just buy it because we've gotten back above the 20. Context matters a ton. Did we just rally 15% to get into the 20-day, or have we just undercut it and then are now rallying back through? How many trades do I think I do per month? Well, let's see. Let's just take. A few months ago I did like 17 in the month, which is kind of low. But let's see. This month so far, I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've done 21 this month. So, I'll probably finish somewhere in the range with 30. So done 21 so far. I think that's the number, roughly. Yeah, Scott, that's not the way to live, brother. That's not the way to live. My thoughts on CCJ. I like the news for nuclear names. CCJ, but I like, CEG as well. And I also really like GEV, probably the most. Nice long base. FLNC. It's not that special yet. I mean, for one, it's got to take out like this little range here, right? So we both know it's got to take out like that 1830 level roughly. Thanks, brother. Thanks for being here. All right, guys, I got to get my butt rolling. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. We were supposed to have jobs numbers today, but that is not happening. So till next month on those jobs numbers, you guys trade them well today, and I will see you tomorrow. Cheers.